नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्यो मामृतङ्गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Good afternoon. అందరూ బాగున్నారా? You all had your lunch? Just now our boy Arun sent me a message. Mother, what is the topic for today's foreign language students prayer meeting? Shall I continue with the same title he said? Whatever I took for the morning batch, spoken English batch students. So, my topic for today's prayer meeting is, actually I did the same for the morning batch students also. Marriage, can it be a road to freedom? Marriage, can it be a road to freedom? See, in our culture, whether it is sannyasa or householder's life, the goal is same, to attain freedom, spiritual freedom. We all actually attain freedom. We understand when we say freedom, political freedom. In 1947, we attained that. And freedom of speech, all these freedoms we talked about. But the ultimate freedom is freedom from want, which a person like Buddha had attained, which we say mukti, nirvana, kaivalya. That is the ultimate freedom we are all seeking. Most of the times we seek it unconsciously. A few minuscule minority, they seek consciously. That is the only difference. Nature will force you to seek that ultimate freedom. There only lies the true happiness and blessedness. So can marriage be a road to freedom, or is it a source of bondage? Today people are entering into this beautiful institution called marriage with great fear and trepidation. We have one volunteer on publication department. He has not got married. He is around 40 now. I asked one day, why have you not got married? He said, Mara, divorce is costly. Back came the reply. Without waiting for a second, he replied me. I was really wonderstruck. Divorce is costly, Mara. Today people are thinking about divorce. Before, at the time of marriage itself, it never happened before in India. So this is all westernization is going on. Not only technology, we are importing the culture from the West also. That we need not do, should not do. Hmm? Technology is okay. But as far as culture is concerned, we are the superpower in the world. India is the cultural superpower and spiritual superpower. We need to give it to them. They need to take our culture and spirituality. Maybe technology we have to take from them. Of late, the divorce rate in India is going up like anything. The other day I was going to our monastic quarters from this language of School of Languages. On the way I encountered a young man. He used to come to the mutt. In between he stopped. Suddenly he appeared. I just asked him, what are you doing now? Well, I am practicing High Court. So I told him that actually probably because a lot of litigation is happening on land, land litigation. Every piece of land is today under litigation. Probably you are having a roaring business. They said, no, Maral, not land. There are family disputes, he told. Lawyers are having maximum business. There are family disputes, domestic violence, dowry, and then this divorce. So that is giving us a lot of business, he said. Then I started thinking probably, why it is happening. Marital discord and the number of ill-assorted couples. Their number is on the rise. People are entering into marriage without knowing the purpose and objective of marriage. Whether I told you, the goal of marriage or sannyasa is one and the same, to attain the ultimate freedom. So the purpose of marriage is to help you to make that highest sacrifice. Basically, marriage is a great sacrifice. One woman, disciple of Vivekananda, had asked him when he was in America, Swamiji, and there is no happiness in married life. Then Vivekananda said, yes, Alberta, there is, provided you enter into it as a sacrifice. What you need to sacrifice? Your limited individuality, your petty ego. If you can love one individual unconditionally, without placing any demands, unconditionally. No demands are placed. Do you get it? Unconditionally. One individual with whom you will have a physical relationship, you will have psychological relationship, emotional relationship, economic relationship, social relationship. One individual, if you can love unconditionally, you will attain God. You will attain God. That is the objective of marriage. Both husband and wife should compete with each other in making that self-sacrifice. And you need to know, it is only the strong, it is only the individual with greatest strength can do that sacrifice. So you need not put a condition that if she sacrifices, he sacrifices and I will do that. No. It's your nature. You have a greater strength. You sacrifice the little limited individuality. For that, you need to set aside your individual likes and dislikes. To love somebody unconditionally, you need to set aside your likes and dislikes, basically your limited and little individuality. When you do that, you will attain God. That is the purpose and objective of marriage. We have great role model for this ideal in our culture, in our scriptures. Rama and Sita, Nala and Damayanti, Savitri, Satyavan. Without reading these stories, you don't enter into wedlock. Then it will become a padlock, great source of bondage. Morning after my prayer meeting, one of my English teachers sent me a message. She said, Swamiji, you told wonderfully about marriage and its ideals. So, it all sounds very good to listen, but to put that into practice is very difficult. And she put a message to me and saying that my students are telling that marriage is jail without bail. She said, marriage is jail without bail. Then he said, then don't go. Don't enter it. Don't go into that imprisonment if you think it's a source of imprisonment. No, marriage is a source of great freedom, provided you know the purpose and objective of it. You just see in the West, here is that great personality who has traveled half of the world. So he knows about all the cultures. You can know more about him from. So I was just watching a video in Sweden. One Indian couple settled in Sweden. They are trying to compare Indian culture with the Swedish culture. In Sweden and most of the countries in the West, the institution of marriage doesn't exist. It's very weak, not like India. So they stay together and they make children. Afterwards, they get married. Sometimes they don't even go for marriage. Marriage is not such a big thing there. Inside the family only it will happen. They will just invite some 4 or 5 family friends and then they get married. It's not that costly like India. In India, marriage is costly, divorce is also costly. Neither marriage is there nor divorce is there. Because when marriage itself is not there, divorce is not there, right? Both are very cheap. Anybody can walk into your life and anybody can walk out of your life. See, the marital discord in India is very high because you can't dissolve the marriage that easily. But whereas there is not much discord there. Because you don't like me, I don't like you. So you go your way, I go my way. So she will find somebody and I will find somebody, right? Men will find somebody else, some other partner, women also find some other. But you know that actually, that is not correct. Why? Human child requires a lot of nurturing. Today you are here the way you are. Probably because your parents are together, they are still making a sacrifice for you. You all know, I don't have to tell you this, in America today, in all higher education institutions, mostly Indians and Chinese only are there. Not many local whites also you'll find there. Why? Because for them, they don't get that parental support just as Indian children and Chinese children they get. In our culture and also, our parents support us up to 25 years to continue our studies. Whereas in America, particularly, because parents are not staying together, by 16, 17, they have to earn for themselves. And if you want to continue your studies further, you have to do the work and also you have to continue with your academics. That's not possible, practically how difficult it is, particularly when you want to go for higher education. Unless you study for 10 hours or 12 hours, you don't get into higher education in the first place, higher institutions. And afterwards, after getting into the institutions also, it is very difficult to complete that syllabus. So parallelly, they have to do this part-time job and then they have to study. It will be very difficult. That is the reason they are not able to go for higher education. So all the universities, higher education departments of all the universities are occupied by only Indians and Chinese because they get a lot of parental support. That's why they are able to complete their higher studies. Human child needs a lot of nurturing. The child needs the love of father and love of the mother. Okay? It's not just like animal. Animal just they don't take care more than 5 days or 10 days. Afterwards, it's animal fends for itself. Human child requires a lot of nurturing. 20-year project if you want to make children. When there is that discord and ill assortment, better don't make children. That harmony is not established yet. Husband and wife are quarreling. At that point of time, you don't make children. Wait. Okay? So if you beget children at that point of time, generally they will come with some kind of distortion, some nervous or psychic distortion, behavioral problems. All this is because of this. So for that, to reduce that discord, to reduce that kind of friction between the two, you need to understand what is marriage in the first place. Marriage is great sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice. This is not such a great sacrifice. If you are not prepared for that sacrifice, better you try this robe, okay? Thank you. Have a nice afternoon.